Wow, welcome to Sports Today. A proper thriller as it was. Rajasthan Royals, of course, snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat. They looked down and out at one stage, but what a comeback. They've won. They defeated Punjab Kings by 2 runs in a high scoring game. Of course, Rajasthan Royals were all out for 185. They got off to a good start, but Arshdeep Singh, brilliant. One of the best 5 wicket hauls in the IPL. And then Punjab Kings were off to a sensational start, courtesy Messrs. Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, but both the set batsmen fell in consecutive overs. But again, Punjab looked like they were in good hands with Aiden Markram and Nicholas Pooran looking pretty solid, pretty strong out there. But things just happened. In fact, they needed 8 runs. Punjab needed 8 runs of the last 2 overs, four of the last one. Brilliant from the young Ankit Tyagi. Well, we'll of course we have our two super fans with us. First off, what happened, Yuvraj? Are you all right? Yuvraj, can you hear me? Okay, well, we seem to have lost Yuvraj. I'm sure this is technical. He was with us. I can promise you he was with us before we went live. But Sanchit, you're right there with your Rajasthan Royals jersey. Tell me your emotions for the last
Well,
90
I think he has
minutes.
got the flag also.
yeah, I got the flag. So, to be very honest, I'm still not able to sulk in the emotions after that victory. I can't believe how we managed to pull it off. I mean, full credits to Karthik Tyagi for that final. It was a pressure over, and the outside the off stump ball tactic, it really was amazing. But I'm not here to analyze anything. I'm just here to enjoy what has been a wonderful comeback victory. And I know that I was actually on a group chat on WhatsApp, and people were like, Punjab is going to find a way to mess up because they have managed to do it. But I felt that Riyan Parag over would have been too much to expect yet another choke from Punjab Kings. But I mean, unreal dedication from the bowlers, and we really managed to pull it off. And this could be the momentum shift that we needed in this season. So
Yeah.
full credit to Karthik Tyagi. I'm on a cloud nine in terms of emotions.
No, this is also a problem with Punjab Kings. In fact, they were in the middle of two super over games last year, if I remember correctly. They just seem to go astray from strong positions, and today they were pretty strong. Again, Rajasthan Royals got runs up the top. Yashasvi Jaiswal looked so good. Lem Livingston down the order got some runs. Sanju Samson again not quite living up to expectations of the bat, but Sanchit as a fan, you'd be disappointed with Sanju Samson's early dismissal. You would have been disappointed with the way the middle order caved in after a superb start. But credit to Ankit Tyagi, credit to the bowlers towards the death. Arshdeep did that as well for Punjab. He really plugged it. He really plugged it and restricted the Royals because at that, for the first several overs, it looked like it could be a 200 or thereabout total, but they did well to restrict them. But Sanju Samson, brilliant captaincy, the field placement. 4 runs needed of the last over, not too many, but T20 pressure. But he had his field up. He also wanted to save those singles. He had men in the deep. Sharp captaincy there.
Definitely, yes. And first of all, I would like to appreciate how Punjab Kings bowled in the death overs because honestly, we all expect the bowlers to go for plenty of runs, especially on such kind of wickets in the death overs. But credits to young Arshdeep Singh and even Mohammad Shami, who has been under critical, and he was criticized for his T20 game. So I think we have to give credit to how they bowled and pulled back Rajasthan Royals to 185 all out after being 166 for 4 in 16 overs. But I mean, to be very honest, the entire match emotion was set by the openers. I mean, Evan Lewis and Yashasvi Jaiswal got us off to a wonderful start. And Evan Lewis, I think he is the pick of the auction, mini auction, the replacement auction, I would say, because we needed to have that West Indian firepower at the top of the order, especially with Josh Butler missing out the tournament. So I think that was really needed. And yes, disappointed with Sanju, but I do feel that the big knock is just around the corner because, as I said, momentum shift is going to play a
Yeah.
crucial
No,
role
it
in this.
is. It is. It is still. In fact, it is. Of course, the resumption of the IPL. All these teams are playing their first matches after a while, after several months. But Trisha, shocking from Punjab to not see Chris Gayle play on his birthday. And this is before you speak on Chris Gayle. This is what KL Rahul said at the post-match presentation. He says this is obviously a tough one to swallow, and he says we need to see how we can handle pressure better. It's happened to the best in the game. tough one to swallow that you haven't learned from your previous mistakes. And this is exactly what I was talking of. Punjab have often gone astray from pretty strong positions. We bowled decent lengths in the first six. Unfortunate that edges got it away from us, but we pulled that back nicely with the ball. They did, courtesy of Arshdeep Singh. And there's Yuvraj. Trisha, before I come to you about Chris Gayle,
Yeah.
Yuvraj, what happened there?
Uh, Honestly, at a loss of words right now, because at this point of time, as a PBKS supporter in my life, I do not support or like keep on getting excited or start celebrating before the screen actually says that Punjab Kings beat a specific franchise. I keep on waiting till the last ball of the game is bowled, because this happens time and again. This is not the very first time we have bottled an almost victory. We saw it last year against KKR as well. And one of my friends were congratulating me when we were like 115 for no loss. And what I messaged him was that we were at the very same score and was scoring at the same rate last year against KKR in Abu Dhabi as well. So stay tuned. The game is not over because it's Punjab Kings chasing it. So do not get excited.
In fact, a lot of people are, obviously, this is we take that this is banter, and this is not meant in a bad spirit. There will be banter, Yuvraj. So some of the fans that some of our followers on Sports Today who reacted to your earlier statements about the rivalry with RCB, some of them are reacting. Is it Punjab the new chokers of the IPL? Is this something as a fan that you'd be worried about? Just when I started the show, we were talking about what happened last year, couple of close matches, super overs. Also, a defeat like that, how does it impact teams? You've followed the IPL for several years. I'll give you an example of what happened to RCB last year. They were going great guns, and then suddenly some bizarre changes in the batting lineup, and they floundered against Punjab Kings. Ironically, they floundered against Punjab Kings, and from there on, their campaign went astray. For Punjab, they never really took off. The season hasn't taken off, and a defeat like this on resumption, how badly could that morale be hit?
Uh, our morale was already towards a decline in the very first phase itself. And whenever there is some sort of stoppage, what you expect from the second phase is some sort of a healing or something that boosts your confidence as a lineup, as a squad, or as a unit. But unfortunately, bottling such an easy victory, uh, all we required was like 10 runs in the last 15 deliveries. And if we cannot even score that, I think we do not even deserve a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, but why did Chris Gayle not play? I mean, imagine that must have been shocking. Even Sunil Gavaskar reacted. Why isn't he
Uh,
playing on his
I
birthday?
believe Chris Gale's exclusion was not the reason behind our loss today. Our
Yeah.
openers performed well, Markram performed well, and then Puran was also in good touch. But this squad just does not know how to finish things off.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't I
you're
don't
right.
know
You're right.
I don't know their
One.
obsession with
Hmm.
taking games to the very last ball and then bottling it as if it was already always in favor of the opponents.
Yeah, no,
And then
I get your
not
point.
working with
I feel what you're
yeah.
saying, Yuvraj, because one player here that wouldn't make a difference. But Trisha, the fact is, Aiden Markram didn't quite look the part towards the end when they should have closed it off. The 15 needed of 10 balls, so they're about 8 of the last 2 overs, 4 of the last over. Chris Gayle again, he's not the Chris Gayle of 4 or 5 years back. You never
Yeah.
know what Chris Gayle would have done. Maybe he would have gotten out for the first ball dark. He could have gone to score an 11 ball 20. But whatever it was, when a defeat like this takes place, you suddenly lose momentum. You would have thought, okay, Chris Gayle, what could he have done? Maybe a quick 15 ball 30 and game set and match for Punjab Kings. Those are things
You
that
know,
we'll have to think
complete
of.
complete
Yeah,
loss of
well,
momentum.
uh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, Rajesh, you see, the inclusion of Chris Gayle, as Yuvraj said, whether the impact of Chris Gayle is a little different, right? When you see a Markram coming out to bat, and when you see Chris Gayle coming out to bat, automatically as a bowling side, your psychology is different. As you said, he might get out of the very first ball, but then he might not. He might hit you for six of the very first ball because he has raw power. And he's Chris Gayle. He just had a good CPL as well. Like he won the trophy. His team won the trophy, so he would have been on a high. And
Yeah.
Chris Gayle is a man of emotions. and on his own
Yeah.
birthday he would have had that I'm not saying that he would have won the game for Punjab, but I don't see the reason either for dropping him, because he was
Yeah.
playing well. He had scored 50s, and Chris Gayle has always been inconsistent. You know that Chris Gayle will play in two matches, say out of four or five, and you're going to win those two matches. He's that kind of a
Yeah.
player, right? And you take that punt. And when it comes to
No,
Markram,
and that has been true of Chris Gale. Actually, you're right, Trisha. I mean, they have used Chris Gale in those phases. In fact, he's not gone on to play all 14 matches. You'll see him play 7 to 10 games at most. But yes, what was surprising was that he did not feature in that lineup in the first
absolutely.
in the first game on resumption. Of course, he did not. It's not that he had come with a truckload of runs from the CPL, but then Chris Gale has that impact. Okay, what has also happened is, by the way, Rajasthan Royals have now moved to fifth in the points table, and this is 4 runs defended by Kartik Tyagi, the fewest runs defended in the final over of an IPL game. Of course, Munaf Patel had done that against Rajasthan Royals, ironically. Sorry, beg your pardon. He had done so for Rajasthan Royals against Mumbai Indians back in 2009. But Sanchit, I see a lot of your supporters are coming in. Saurabh Desai saying we are here for Sanchit. I don't know if that's family somewhere. Is he a brother? Is he a brother? Okay, that's a
Yes,
brother. That his brother pitching in for him. Somebody saying Shamik Das dropping a number of catches at the start. Nobody would have given Rajasthan a chance. But this victory shows how unpredictable this game can be. And what a last over from Kartik Tyagi. Sanchit, I know a couple of setbacks for both Punjab and Rajasthan in the interim before the IPL resumed. The second part started. But this must be so heartening. You have the senior pros playing well, and then you have someone like Yashasvi Jaiswal continues to live up to his billing of fine young player, and then you have Ankit Tyagi working wonders. And of course, don't forget Mahipal Lomro. What a knock that was from Lomro, right?
yeah, definitely. The best part about this victory was that it was orchestrated by the Indian players, the young Indian players in the side. So, Rajasthan Royals is known for their overseas dependence on overseas talent quite often, and we win games because of our overseas players. So, I think to win in such manner against all odds, backed by the performances of young Indian players in the side, I think Mahipal Lamro was superb. The hits that he was playing against. Deepak Huda in that over was fantastic as well. And to ball that pressure final over by Kartik Tyagi, it's simply remarkable. So this feels really great because of the reason why it came on the back of young Indian players. So this will give us
Yeah.
a huge boost going forward into the tournament as well.
Yuvraj, take that. I want you to take this from Abhinav Bajaj. He's saying the problem for Punjab Kings is bowling. I've been saying this for so long now. The score wasn't at all easy to chase. Tyagi was extraordinary at the end there, of course. But apart from Ashdeep today, you'd think you'd back that up that Punjab still have some plugs to some holes to fill in that bowling department. It's not looking good at the moment.
I agree with this one because we do need like at least one or two bowlers who can actually ensure us like lethal 4 overs every game, like somewhat something that Rashid Khan promises in every game for Sunrisers Hyderabad or Jasprit Bumrah promises for Mumbai Indians. We do not have a bowler of that kind. So those 4 overs could be very crucial for any of the opponents if we do have a bowler of that capability. But of course, like Mohammad Shami is great. He's one of the main pacers of Team India. But in the end, yes, on an off day, he also goes for runs. Arshdeep sometimes,
Yeah.
mostly he stays economical, takes wickets, but as well on an off day, he again goes for runs. But what I was seeking is that at least one bowler who could guarantee us 4 good overs, and I saw that in Adil Rashid, but unfortunately he couldn't really deliver to us.
Yeah, Trisha, you take
Yeah,
what you
I
just
had a question for Yuvraj.
Yeah,
Even if Punjab wanted to play Markram for batting, why did they play Fabian Allen? Because they didn't. He just played one ball. That's it in the match,
I
and he
agree.
took a good
I
catch.
agree.
So
With
instead of
Harpreet
that, Chris
Brad's
Gale could have
inclusion,
played, right?
in the 11, there was absolutely no requirement of playing Fabian Allen
Hmm.
because both are uh, batsmen who can bat down the order and also bowl 4 economical overs. And Fabian Allen did not even bowl and also played a single delivery. So That did not make sense for me. Instead, we could have had like Moses Enriquez would have made more sense. However, Chris Gale's exclusion was, of course, disheartening to see. And honestly, I'm not at so much of a mood that I can explain so much, because I do need time to recover from this loss. uh, the other losses wherein
We
your
do
team does not
understand.
perform well in throughout the game, those those do not hurt as much as those do when you are playing well and then bottle it in the end. So yeah,
No, and also I just see this comment from Apurva. While you were discussing the laxities in that Punjab team, Apurva saying, obviously, this is what happens with the team with no experienced batsmen in the middle order to finish matches. Well, the thing is, I don't think that's the case. You look at that top three or four now. You have KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, either Chris Gayle or Markram, and then you have Nicholas Pooran, and then you have Deepak Hooda. Deepak Hooda has been around in Indian domestic cricket for a while. He's been around. He's played the IPL for a while. He's been an integral part of the Rajasthan Royals squad for quite a few years now. So that's not inexperienced. Sorry, beg your pardon. He's done well for Punjab Kings in recent times. So you have to take all of that into consideration. The fact is, brilliant bowling. You also can't forget that over was it bowled by was that penalty bit over bowled by Mustafizur, right?
Yes.
Before
Mustafizur Rahman, absolutely, absolutely.
Kartik Tyagi and Mustafizur, those two last overs. In fact, what is this? Kartik Tyagi is the player of the match, of course. He is. He was.
Has to
He's
be.
really the player of the match. 4 overs, 29 for two. Mustafizur Rahman as well. He was just spectacular with that final over that he bowled. Chutal Sakaria, one of his overs. Even though Chris Morris looked out of shape, he was not quite there. Some chip. This is brilliant. You see, this is like I said, and Kartik Tyagi, well, was a man of the match. Who did you pick as your man of the match, by the way, before the
To be
show?
very honest, I picked Chris Morris, so that backfired heavily. So it's
Yeah.
okay if it contributed in a
Yeah.
win.
Mm. Yeah, doesn't matter as long as your team is winning. But okay, we'll go. We'll before we close this show. Yuvraj, you're looking very disoriented. You're not looking in very high spirits. But that's all right. That's all right. This is cricket. One team wins, the other team loses. Fantastic game of cricket. Yes, Punjab will have to bounce back. Now, what are your three key expectations from this Punjab side? Which are the areas that, as a fan, you want to see them address very quickly, because it's frustrating. Even when India loses such close games, as an ardent India cricket fan, I'd be dejected. But what are those three things that you're looking for Punjab to address?
uh, if I be honest, I do not expect much from this side now,
Hmm.
because in a game wherein you have performed well throughout and then you do not win it, it is an exception. But
Hmm.
what will happen in the games you do not perform well throughout? So that is one thing that is to be considered by the franchise. That if you cannot win comfortable victories, how will you win those games wherein you need aggressive mindset throughout, like the last overs, and then you have to snatch the victories away from the opposition,
Hmm.
like Rajasthan did today. But yeah, that's all what I have to say. But with this game get over, I do not see any chance of us making it to the playoffs, and neither do I want to, considering the mindset they are playing with.
Right. No, I know Yuvraj is pretty heartbroken. Trisha, it's okay. As a fan, he has every right to be a little disgruntled with his team after they just lost that game from such a solid position. But Trisha, think about it. Think about Punjab's campaign last time. Of course, this is around when the IPL started, but we all know how Punjab played last year, and they were so impressive. And then towards the back end, something snapped. Um, what are the chances now? How do they stack up? This is I'll just refresh the points table and try to figure out where Punjab Kings has dipped. Of course, they are second from last, and anyway they stay
Punjab would
there.
be second last, no?
But Rajasthan Royals have moved up to number 5 with that victory. But they'll have to now clearly, we'll have to go on a winning streak. And also, what this has done, Trisha, is it's opened up that playoffs berth. CSK and DC are the most comfortable right now. RCB, despite that heavy defeat, they're probably only a couple of victories away from seeding a playoff berth. Mumbai Indians are 8 points, KKR 6, and now Rajasthan Royals. They're going to be that those two three that one or two the final spot, or maybe two spots could get very competitive from now on.
Absolutely. See, I think 1-2 is pretty comfortable, as you said, but it's 3-4 that will get very tough. And as far as Punjab is concerned, I think Yuvraj, all is not lost, because remember, this is the game of cricket. I mean, obviously, the defeat that Punjab suffered today, or against KKR, or the way Punjab kind of keeps dragging these games and messing them up. As a fan, your frustration is completely understandable. Mathematically, they can still qualify. That's point one. Point two, though, the other part is, if you actually see, Punjab played really well today in Dubai. So their pacers also will take heart from the fact that they came back, and the score, which was going to be 220, was actually restricted to 185. I think what Punjab needs to sort out first, Rajashri, is their middle order. If you see, they keep changing it. You can't change, like in 14 matches, you can't have 14 different number threes playing, number fours playing. You have to have a fixed core of 3-4 players. And Punjab needs to sort this top heavy, because I can clearly see KL Rahul probably putting his anchor down from the next match. He won't be playing this freely because of the whole choke up in the middle order.
No, and also the fact is, you're right. With Chris Gayle in the team, you'd expect a little bit of rejigging in the middle order, number three. Nicholas Pooran, it could have been a case for Nicholas Pooran to probably stay a steady number three there. He's such
Correct.
an aggressive batsman. He's such a clean hitter of the ball. KL Rahul, hopefully he doesn't have to do that, because you could sense that there was a bit of that anchor playing role for him in the IPL last year, and you've seen how beautifully he plays for India in the T20 format, because he does not obviously have that kind of pressure, and he knows there is Virat Kohli and there's such a power pack lineup now. Probably Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant. There is a lot of firepower there at the end. But good thing for Punjab is that Mayank Agarwal also got back to some sense of form, but they'd be disappointed that he did not finish it. KL Rahul or Mayank Agarwal, they would have ideally wanted. That's been the game plan for Punjab, to have either Mayank or KL Rahul finish that game for them. It didn't quite work out, but still, they didn't have too many to chase down before Rajasthan Royals came back to snatch a glorious victory. But then that's
See,
that.
the whole victory happened in the last 2 overs, right? So I think we have to just give it to Rajasthan that they bowled two beautiful. I mean, considering that Punjab did get enough chances to score those runs, but then in the last 2 overs were brilliant. Mustafizur, I
Yeah.
think Karthik was brilliant, and Mustafizur was also fantastic.
2 overs there, and I also think the 11th over made a marked difference to Rajasthan Royals' confidence, and probably triggering that choking, that choking attitude in the Punjab team. I think that was 6 runs from Tewatia,
Yeah.
and that wicket of Mayank Agarwal. It was a shot that wasn't called for. It did not need that sense of aggression, unless he was looking to finish that game off with an early bid to increase, better the net run rate. I think that also sort of, kind of made spread some sense of panic in that Punjab lineup. But this is cricket again. Yuvraj, you've been spectacular today. You were feisty in the pre-match show. This is cricket. Your team was playing brilliantly. Lost the plot in those 2-3 overs there. Sanchit Desai is all smiles, as he was before the start of the show. Both of them were confident, but this is sport. This is what happens. At the end of the day, you have one winner, one loser, but there's always another day to live for, and you'll see some fine cricket, I'm sure, for Punjab, for Yuvraj to bring back that lovely smile again. And Sanchit, we'll see you back when Rajasthan play again. Krisha, thank you so much. We'll close the show on this note. This was, for all facts and purposes, a fantastic game. Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings. You saw how CSK bounced back, and of course Rajasthan RCB KKR was rather one-sided. But that's sport. That's sport for you. It happens, and heartbreaks and fans being disappointed. That's all part of sport. And hopefully for Punjab fans, they'll see some better finishing in the next game. Thank you so much for joining us. It's past midnight already. We'll take your leave, and please join us back later today. We're already in the 22nd of September. Join us back later for some more action on the IPL previews, and we'll have some super fans lined up as well for the 22nd of September. Please do subscribe to Sports Today. Thank you. Have a very good night.